Okay, welcome to the start of a new anime review series. Excuse me. This is discussing an anime that I never thought I would discuss this one. I mainly saw this one pop up on Crunchyroll. I figured though, check it out. And also, I should point out though, this series is somewhat erotic per se, but it is not a hentai. No, it is not. There is some nudity you see in the series, yes, so I do not recommend any kids watch this series. Only if you're a teenager up to adult watch this series. This is called Why the Hell Are You Here, Teacher? Or in the Japanese translation, Why Are You Here, Sensei? Yeah, this is one. It's like one of those type of series where it focuses on these set characters for a set of episodes and then switch to a different set. Now, mostly put, this type of series is students getting in relationships with teachers. Though they do it after graduation, of course. Though if they, well, it's kind of hinted at in this one. The mother was kind of pushing for it, which I'll get to it. Now, this series, well, for the start of it, it focuses on Kana Kajima, who's voiced by Maggie Falloe. I've heard her in a few series. Yeah, by the way, the actress is only 38. Yeah, I saw there's a picture of her from online from about 8 years ago. Very lovely woman. Aside from this series, the only series I've heard her in has been Akame ga Kill, which I did several years ago. Actually, it's been about 4 years ago I did that one. Let's see. She was also in the series I've seen, by the way. Let's see. She was also in, well, this series, obviously, and To Love Ru, voicing Saki Tojin. Let me look up, see. Oh, yeah, she's the arrogant one. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Aside from that, that's pretty much it. Oh, yeah, she's also in Noi Koen, which is the series about a guy who talks to cats. Yeah, Kaneko, the childhood friend of the main character. Yep, so basically about 4 anime. Not bad per se for her, but oh boy, the student. Eriko Sato, voiced by the awesome Austin Tendo, which, and this is might be a surprise for you all, that this is the 13th series I've heard him in. Yep, the last one was Claymore. Yeah, that was the last one. I'm like, really? Claymore was the last one? Yeah. Actually, I think it was Love Time was the last one I heard him in, but it's been a while since I've heard him in this series. Of course, the guy is notorious. Like, when people think of him, what's usually the first series they think of when they think of Austin Tendo? Tokyo Ghoul. Yep, I met this guy last year. Awesome guy, me in person. Now, I should also point out, though, about the episode length, per se. If you take out the closing credits, which take about the last 2 minutes of the episode, and the open title, this episodes are roughly 10 minutes. Yeah, 10-minute episodes are really quick to get through. And also, because the fact they're based on manga, now, roughly put, this covers the first volume of the series, basically the first manga volume. But it doesn't cover all 10 chapters because there's lots of nudity involving Kana in this series. She apparently gets accidentally gets real naked several times at this whole thing, but no sex. Nope, no sex. So you at least got praise for that. Okay, but these episodes cover, the first episode covers chapters 1 and 3. The second episode 4 through 5, 3, 7 through 8, and this one covers chapter 10. The first one, which is basically the premise, basically that's kind of interesting, basically kind of describes the pilot episode per se of the series, where Sato is going to use the bathroom, and he's going to a stall, and he sees his beautiful teacher there, using it. Yep. They cut out the little thing here where they show a little clip of basically the women's restroom, why she's here. She mentions the reason why she's here because the women's restroom is being cleaned, and she needed to use the restroom. And here's the thing. They end up getting accidentally locked in the stall. And then, of course, the water polo people come in. And then, of course, he gets close to her. And he basically almost buries her faces her chest. Yeah, her chest basically becomes an object of his like basically that he gets attached to throughout these few episodes per se. I mean, purely by accident. Then eventually, of course, they get out, and of course, he just tries to ignore it. And then later on, basically, he visits the nurse's office, and he does the thing of, "Why the hell are you here?" He basically does this whole scary look. Teacher's in there too. Apparently, she's got a fever. Needs some medicine. Of course, he's there because he's tired. So, how the heck do they deal with the cold? Do it the most strangest way possible I've ever seen. Basically, anybody take a piece of medicine, put a pill inside of the via another area, basically below the belt. I'm not really going to describe it because it's kind of, let's say, inappropriate to discuss this. Let's just say he shoves it basically someplace that basically should not be discussed on camera, and they didn't really show him doing it, but it's like, oh yeah, it's not that one, put in the other one. Yep, and then she's fine. Though they later on have him hide under the covers. Oh yeah, in the manga, she was actually almost completely naked in this particular scene. Though, no, he didn't do anything to her, just happened to be that way. And he gets near her chest, but he doesn't do anything to it. And of course, you also have one of her fellow teachers come in this scene, who actually does occasionally appear in these episodes, Mayu. Yeah, and she, of course, gets attracted to a different student, which is the subject of the next two episodes after this one. The next one is, simply put, basically, you have Sato on his way home from school, and of course it's raining, and then he gets to a laundromat, basically, for shelter. And his teacher just happens to be there, and she's soaking wet. So he volunteers to basically pay for, get her clothes dry, put the clothes in the dryer, and it's like, okay, but she's going to be almost completely naked, well, except for her panties. Well, he decides to give her his shirt. How nice of him to do. And then they're there chatting for a while. Then the power goes out. Then they try checking the power. And, of course, apparently also she's afraid of lightning. So at one point, basically, well, then they do the whole thing of putting it, like, do a hand on the shoulders. Doesn't work. And, of course, she accidentally hits the wall because she's spooked by the lightning. Then, of course, you have launcher fall on her. And then he basically, looks like he accidentally pulls the shirt up, but he pulls it down. But apparently his hands get stuck and ends up popping the buttons in the shirt and basically exposing her chest. Yeah, she's not wearing her bra. And then eventually they do get out. Of course, he probably dries his own clothes later on. And then, of course, they cut to his house where it's like, oh yeah, so he gets like, oh yeah, my sanctuary, my home. And all of a sudden his teacher's there babysitting his adorable baby sister, who is 1 year old. Yep. And it turns out that apparently well, his mom and her know each other, so they asked her to babysit her. Okay. And then, of course, tries to basically get along with her. And then, of course, she gets scared because, like, balls her eyes. And they're like, why put her in the kiddie pool? Put her in a swimsuit that she puts on a bikini that she borrowed from parents' house. Apparently, the only one she had available was her high school one. And then, of course, well... Then, of course, they start chatting for a bit with playing in the pool. And then, of course, then we have the adorable sister get the strange idea. This is a 1 year old doing this. Decides to remove Kana's top. Yep. And, of course, top falls off. And, of course, he nearly accidentally hits the kid. Look how they both catch her. And then they accidentally kiss. Yes, they kiss on the lips. Not anywhere place else. And then eventually, of course, our top gets put back on after a little bit. And then, of course, after a while, like, the mother basically is teasing her. Oh, yeah, and the way she describes, if you're basically a prospective guy, it's Sato. Yep, it's Sato. And, let's see. I will discuss episode 4. That's interesting. Yep. Yeah, and then, oh yeah, by the way, all the episodes referred to as periods. First period, second period, third period, fourth period. The next one's quite interesting, where Kana comes back up into his house, again, this time to help unpack his room. And of course, she's like, "Why do you leave your clothes all over the place?" And then they chat for a bit, and of course, they look like they're gonna get close. And then his mother shows up with his adorable little sister. And then later on, of course, she drinks some juice. Apparently, it's laced with alcohol for some reason. And apparently, she realizes she can't. She's a lightweight when it comes to liquor. So, oh yeah, they reveal her flashback of how she can. They basically reveal this book. Apparently, and of course, the little girl obviously points out, "Mama." Yep, and she's like, "That's right, honey. That's me." And who's that girl with the glass? That's Kana. So apparently, it's implied that Sato's mom knew Kana in high school, despite the fact she's like not much older than she is. He is. She's like 7 years older than he is. So apparently, when she was a teenager, there was this little boy who helped her out, and basically wants to become a teacher. Just happened to be Sato, and he remembers that. Yep. And of course, she thanks him. Of course, calls him Big Sis. And then later in the end of the episode, he accidentally calls Big Sis at school, and she basically gets mad at him for basically calling her that. It's like, don't call me that at school. And then the very next episode is a beach episode, because of course these anime love having beach episodes. Though it's only been 2 episodes since we last saw her in a swimsuit. This time it's blue instead of red. And of course the mother decides to leave them alone. Of course, like, let's go shopping. The 1-year-old girl just runs away. I thought it was quite funny. And then of course she asks, like, why didn't you put some suntan lotion on my back? We're like, okay, rubbing for a while. Well, of course she kind of partially was her on top herself. And then she decides to jump in, gets a cramp. Well, apparently a cramp. And then it's revealed that she actually got bitten by a sea snake. And it was actually below the belt again. And he sucks up the venom, but takes to the hospital. Oh yeah, it's revealed that by the mother that Kana's got a thing for him. Yep, and they both confirm it, kind of by the end of the episode. And oh yeah, takes to the hospital. Of course, they're there at this tropical island because they're there for a wedding for a friend of the mom's. So then by the end of the episode, apparently that he's got her number, like she's got his number, and then we set up the very next couple, which is going to be Miru and Suzuki, who's a friend of Sato's. Yep, that's what's setting up for the next 2 episodes. Excuse me. I'm looking forward to basically discussing the one where one of my favorite voice actors in the series. Yep, she's gonna pop up in the episode. Well, her thing started out for her. It's gonna be episode number 7. Yeah, her thing is gonna take up 3 episodes. While in the case, this one took up roughly 4. Yes, yeah, where a book is roughly about 10 chapters. Yeah, here's the thing about the volumes for Why the Hell Are You Here, Teacher? Each book contains 10 chapters apiece. There has roughly been 10 chapters released overall, anyways. And you might be asking, is there releases over here? Yes, as a matter of fact, the last volume was released just a few months ago. Yeah, for some reason, look at the release date for this thing. They apparently released volumes 8 and 9 the same day in January, and then 10 was released back in February, and apparently in Japan, they're up to volume 11. Yeah, there's like 11 volumes for this one. Now, how far does the series get to by the series end? Well, they only cover the first 4 volumes of the manga books per se. Yeah, they only cover the first 4. In case you're curious who publishes the actual manga, it's Koshida. I believe this is the same company that publishes Fairy Tail. I believe so. Now, the studio who makes this one, this is Tier Studio. Oh yeah, in case you're curious who does the dub, Sentai Filmworks. Yep, Sentai Filmworks. This is only the 2nd series that this company's ever worked on. They've only been around for 8 years. They basically went to fall just a couple years ago, and apparently they only made 2 series. Like, really? Oh yeah, really? Like, it's kind of interesting though. Only 2 series for this one studio? Yeah, apparently they filed for bankruptcy after only being around for 8 years. And the first series didn't come out until like 5 years after the company first founded. It's called Lord of Vermilion, the Crimson King. No, I've never seen this one. Nope, but it is Double Funimation. When I get to this one, I don't know per se. It depends, but yeah, I got one show basically done. Well, work on one show, well, by this very studio. Yep, they also worked on a movie called The Royal Tutor. Yeah, they're working on one movie. And 2 OVAs, one for this series, mind you. And Frag Time. Yep, Frag Time. They worked on an OVA for that one too. That's a Yuri series. I'm not really going to discuss that one. I technically have covered one Yuri type series. That's Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, but that's a fun series. That's just pure fun. I love that one. And of course, next season is coming out next month. And I've been sort of basically talking to Toru's like English dub actor on Twitter. Yeah, I've been chatting with her like a few times. I've tweeted her yesterday, where I first asked her like a really not very rude question per se. Like, when is the dub for season 2 for How Not the Same with Elor coming out? And she responded with basically having a gift of Shira, her character from the show, just flashing, just basically going back and like she's like, "When I'm good and done with it," and I'm like, "Okay, cool. I'm looking forward to it." Like, I asked her if she's looking forward to Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid season 2, and from what I can tell, she definitely is. Yes, of course, that's Sarah Windhouse. I want to be sure basically I pronounce her name properly. Because she's a great voice actress. Let's see if we can find her here. She's probably in the bottom. I haven't seen the many series. Here, Sarah Wenderhoff. I've seen 15 series of her in it, and the most last one I watched with her in it was Super X Heroes. Yeah, so who would have thunk that a voice actress will respond to me on Twitter? I've sent basically tweets to the voice actors on Twitter before. Usually they ignore it, but I'm not really bothered by that. But she's the first one ever responded to me. Yeah, I've never had a voice actor respond to me on Twitter before. But we only went I only sent her a few tweets over the course of a few minutes. Like, I'm not harassing her per se. It's just that, just asking a fan question. I mean, I like the woman's work, so there's that. Oh yeah, in case you're curious, I'm like 6 years older than she is, but I've never met her in person. Nope, never. And of course she's not in this series. But one of my other favorite voice actors is in the series, but she's not going to appear just yet. Basically, she'll be the next episode to discuss. Okay, so that's a particular review. Now, I'm basically just not going to basically put this up right away, per se. I'm just going to work on the next set of episodes, and then do the review for that. And I'm probably going to do it for the rest of this series. Okay? See you next video. Bye.